meeting. Scarborough Community Services. Have to keep this in my brain. I apologize for that. Welcome to our Emily as our secretary, and I will pass along the attendance. Thank you to everyone who's here. First order of business, and will everyone have had those, even including our new people, the minutes?
I do not believe that I sent those on.
Okay, should we wait or approve those for those of us who work here?
Yeah, I think
We saw them, Emily had sent them, so I guess, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from, our November 25th meeting, because January was canceled due to illness.
So moved.
Anybody
Thank you,
who's new can't vote on them because they weren't there.
We still have forum with four.
Okay, any second? Second. Thank you. Any comments?
Who made the
Okay.
motion? Sorry.
Daryl made the motion and Brittany seconded. So all members who can vote in favor. So the members are approved for that meeting. Thank you. Do we have anyone? I don't see anyone here present. Do we have anyone online who cares to comment on any of our agenda items?
Not seeing anybody online.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to our new members. And if everyone could just go quickly around the room and introduce themselves. And we're gonna start with you, Dennis.
Sure. So Dennis Meehan, I've lived in Scarborough for 13 years. I've got a freshman and a seventh grader. Was really involved in Little League as the past president for the last 5 years. And since my son was there, and then I coach soccer and basketball in town as well. For my day job, I work with the Sea Dogs and do sponsorship for the team. Thanks.
Caroline Sands, been in Scarborough for about 10 years, have 3 kids in the school district, very active in soccer. Just happy to be here, so thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I work too. So, sorry, but yeah, I do. I work for a local insurance company, senior counsel there.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of attorneys on this committee.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know.
So it's good to have that respect.
Yeah.
Daryl Wright, lived in Scarborough for several years now. I have stepchildren. One graduated Scarborough High School last year and another that's a junior. And I've been I was a second alternate for about 1.5 years and then now I'm a full member.
Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah.
Hi, Brittany Jackson, no kids, but want to be very involved in the community. I work for a healthcare staffing agency and I'm in law school at the same time right now. And have been an alternate and just got a number 2. So excited to be there.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Trish Brigham. I have been on the committee. I think this is my 3rd year. I've been in Scarborough for 8 years, raised our kids and lived in Cape Elizabeth for about over 20 years and joined because I actually served on the Cape Elizabeth Community Services and felt like I had something to offer and wanted to meet people when we moved here. So happy to be here.
I'm Mike Slavin. I'm a new member. I think I'm the second alternate, but see how that goes. Lived in Scarborough since '99, so about 27 years. 2 sons who were grown up who made it all the way through the Scarborough schools, did very well, got college degrees, master's degrees, so great education. I'm also on the Coastal Waters and Harbor Committee.
Actually, your name looks familiar.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're hoping to have a little bit of cross-pollination when things are relevant as far as learning what's going on here, because there's some things that we kind of overlap on. So hopefully we can add a little bit of value between Brittany and myself and share some things with that committee also based on what we hear around here. So looking forward to working with the group.
Well, thank you for joining us. And Emily?
Howdy, I'm Emily Loader. I'm the vice chair and secretary. I've lived in Scarborough for about 6 years and involved in the committee and have a background in recreation and enjoy helping in the community. And Amanda just joined as well.
I see that. Amanda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Hopefully that my sound's okay. I have headphones on. Amanda Doherty. I've been on the Community Services Board for 2 or 3 years now, I believe, transitioning from second alternate to regular member. I have lived in Scarborough since 2013, involved in this committee as well as numerous sports boards and coaching opportunities. And I'm currently an attorney for the Maine Judicial Branch.
Thank you, everyone. I will add, for those of you who are new, that I think most people who serve on this committee have long-standing tenure. So I think we've done a pretty good job of making it a good committee to be on, however you want to define that. And people have come from different experiences. And I also worked for Maine.
Just you, oh, what?
And Larry, yes, I want him finishing the committee and now our liaison.
So I'm Larry Kane from representing the Scarborough Town Council. I'm the liaison to the committee, which makes me a non-voting member, but hopefully it's a two-way relationship and I'm reporting to you guys things that are going on in town and I'm taking information back. I've got you beat. This year, 2026 is my family's 60th year in Scarborough.
60. Wow.
We started off as renters out at the beach and then my wife and I retired here and we've been here for about 8 years in a permanent house. So that's where we are.
Nick, everyone knows you, but just for the purposes of the meeting, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah, so I'm Nick Klisch, I'm the Community Services Director. I started here last February. I come by way of Portland. I was the Recreation Director there. I worked for that department for 18 years. I currently reside in Saco. I have a 7-year-old daughter, married to my wife Rachel, who works in a law firm in Portland. I'm in Dean tonight.
Yeah.
And we have 2 English bulldogs. I've been active in the Parks and Rec industry for a very long time. Done a lot of coaching. I was most recently the head football coach for Portland High School, but I've since resigned to focus on my career and in my child, so I can enjoy some time with her. But I really appreciate everybody's efforts here. It's an integral piece and the backbone of what we do. We're here to serve you. And provide opportunities for the town recreationally, both passive and active recreation. We have a really big department. We have 21 full-time employees. We operate upwards of 50 to 70 seasonal employees as we head towards the summer. And we're active in everything from operation and events, youth, active adult programming. We oversee Parks and Grounds, who takes care and maintains all of our fields, our winter recreation. We have a marketing team, and we're just a really well-developed department. I walked into a really good situation here in Scarborough with a great team, so just excited to see the work we can do move forward and as the growth of town in town goes and how we can support that.
One thing just to add, a couple of meetings ago, you brought some of your staff people to meet us, which was a really nice opportunity. And perhaps we can do that again, particularly because we have so many new faces on the committee. So maybe we can do that later. To redo that again. Okay, next item of business is to elect officers. So we've got 3 positions: chair, vice chair, and reporting secretary. Emily, our superstar, has been occupying 2 of those roles for the past year. So I think we should take nominations for all of those roles. Do I have anyone who is interested or accepting nominations for any of these roles? And I think anyone can alternates make nominations.
I'm not sure. I would stick primarily to the voting.
Okay, so Daryl, Brittany, Emily, Amanda, and myself. Anyone want to make a nominate anyone for any of these positions?
Including yourselves. Don't everybody jump up.
Say, does anyone want to self-nominate? I don't know what you guys been doing to do it.
Oh, Dennis, you can
Yeah.
nominate too. You're a
But
regular.
I'd rather you self-nominate since I don't want to volunteer anybody for something I don't want to do. So.
Anyone interested in any of those roles? Emily and Amanda, you're awfully quiet out there.
So I do not want to continue in the vice chair and recording secretary position because in July I will be having my second baby. So I will probably not be in an available capacity to keep up and do so. It might be different next year, but so if someone else wants to do it for like the 1 or 2 times that we meet, until July, then I'm happy to teach and share and pass off. I know we don't meet that often, but it's important to show up and do the stuff in between hand, and that's what I don't want to miss. So if anybody wants to be secretary.
So I'll say I don't want to be secretary. I'm historically bad at taking notes. I'm better at talking. So I don't think I would be a good fit for that role. If vice chair is a distinct role, I'm happy to do that and fill in when the chair is unavailable. But and also because sometimes I have to go late or leave early because of child issues. I also think that being a secretary on my end would not be productive for you all.
That was going to be my second notice, Amanda, was I was going to nominate you for vice chair if you were interested.
I second that.
We can get a vote.
We're gonna do a full slate.
Well, Amanda, do you
Almost.
accept that nomination?
Yes.
Good question.
I'm happy to do secretary. I just will not be at the July 9th meeting because I have night classes, so just one meeting, so I can do that, but otherwise happy to.
We can do an alternate. Okay, I nominate Brittany for secretary.
I'll second that.
Do you accept?
Yes.
Anyone interested in chair?
Trish, are you interested in continuing on as chair?
She got asked that last year.
Now.
I will do it if no one else is interested, but if someone else is interested, I'm happy to step aside. It's kind of I don't need to do it. I'm gonna stay on the committee, so if anyone else is interested, please so state. If not, I will do it with the caveat, this is my absolute last year. I feel like new people need to bring in new ideas and new energy, and I don't wanna usurp that, so I will stay in the role unless.
I'll nominate Trish for the role as chair.
Second.
Okay.
Trish,
So now-
especially since we have some new members on, it would be a good idea for them to get acquainted with how we do stuff and see how the committee functions. And then kind of when new nominations come up next year, we now have more eligible people who would be able to serve in that role.
Okay, so I'm gonna put forth the slate and recommend that since everyone seemed to agree, that we will vote on the full slate. So it would be me as chair, Amanda Doherty as vice chair, and Brittany Jackson as reporting secretary for the next year.
Also taking note, Trish, that both you and I have our terms ending at the end of 2026 with the option for
There you go. It's easy.
That's one way to get out, right?
Well, a person can serve 3 consecutive terms. Each term is up to 3 years, and this, I believe, is the end of our first term. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I think I can put that slate forward, so I need a second. Dennis, second. All those in favor? Okay, unanimously passes, we're set for 2026, and everyone can sort of help and fill in. People are, okay, community services update. Nick, you are on.
All right, it's gonna be a long-winded one, so bear with me here.
Nick, I'm
some
just going to
general-
tag you then, and you can just add your stuff in.
No problem.
Thank
Happy to
you.
help. Some general updates from my side. We are in budget season. We're very early in budget. We're working diligently to compile both our operational and our 5-year CIP. I have submitted both of those to the town manager most recently. But again, it's probably too early to report any substantial things as it relates to our division itself. We have a lot of things to suss out over the next couple of months, townwide that, would, be in relation to our department. I'll certainly provide a report at our May meeting, because I think things will be a little bit more firm there. We'll have a better idea of where we stand. But I need to give you that update. With that being said, I am not requesting any new positions in community services this year. As most know, last year we were granted a new rec program coordinator, which has been a great benefit for us. It has allowed us to break down the work a little bit within the department and free up folks and have new faces within our programs and add some new programs. So we're very grateful that we got that investment last year. And I wanted to be mindful of the other town departments that have needs beyond ours. In addition to that, I submitted a proposal for automated parking at the beaches. That is something that would be considered for beach season 2027. That will be vetted over the next couple months. I think that will be probably a public process after it gets to council. And they'll determine if that's an investment and a process that the town really wants to undertake. It has its positives, it has its negatives, there's a cost to it, there's, the enforcement side. So there's a lot of things that we need to kind of figure out how it would be most beneficial to the town and if it would. As it relates to beaches, beach pass sales begin Thursday, April 30th. Usually it's May 1st, but just how the calendar works this year, it's Thursday, April 30th. As you know, town hall is closed on Fridays. But new in 2026, Community Services is offering beach sales every Friday with town hall being closed here at the hub. We figured that would be a great offering for the residents. So we'll be doing that here starting on May 1st. And then additionally, we're offering similar to our passport day. We do two large passport days on Saturday. We're doing an annual beach sales, beach pass sale here on Saturday, May 2nd. And that will be from 8 to 2. So we expect to see a lot of folks, especially in that first few days of beach pass sales, both resident and non-residents here at the hub. I did relay in one of the last emails I sent out. There will be no beach pass increases or parking increases this year. We settled on the rate. We met with the committee and decided to stick with it for another year. That's multi-fold. That was there's been a lot of additions of fees and everything the last couple of years. As well as we invest or will look to invest or possibly invest in automated parking. We did not want to change things potentially 3 years in a row for our residents. So we were mindful of that. And those fees are $40 for a resident pass, $200 for a non-resident pass. We capped those at $350. That was new last year. $20 a day flat fee parking, and we still offer free senior passes. Active duty military and veterans passes.
Yeah,
And
can I ask
yeah.
one quick question? When you're doing the beach passes here, is it another opportunity to communicate dog rules?
Yeah, we'll have a trifold or a flyer that goes out similarly what the town clerk's office, they have a small pamphlet that goes out with every registration or every beach pass that's sold, whether it's in city clerk or the registrar office. So we would have that same thing. And then lastly, related to beach parking, our lots and amenities will open May 22nd for the season. So it's right around the corner for us. Some staffing updates from our department. We had a recent vacancy in our Parks and Grounds team, moved on to a new opportunity. So we held interviews today. We're hopeful to make that offer tomorrow and hopefully to have somebody in here early April, mid-April, so that would fulfill that 7-person team. In addition to that, as I talked earlier, we have a ton of seasonal opportunities. We hire anywhere between 50 and 70 between our seasonal beach attendants, our summer camp, and our park rangers. I did want to note, we are replacing all 3 park rangers. We started the park ranger program 2 years ago. We had a lead ranger that was with us the first 2 years. He segued on to a new position, and the 2 folks we hired on last year are not returning there. One's working at Maine Audubon, and they found other opportunities. So that will be a full new team this year.
Okay, so is that delicate? Because I know that was the first year we had those, and are they leaving? They're leaving for positive reasons,
Yeah,
not because
better
it's a
opportunities.
challenging role and that
Or-
we should do something differently this
No,
year.
more of them are full-time opportunities or, a better opportunity, really a better opportunity. The one younger gentleman we offered, that worked with us last year was leaving for an internship.
Okay,
So it's nothing to do with the program. They all spoke, really highly of the program and really enjoyed it. And I think going into our 3rd year, the town is really supporting it. The beach communities think it's a value to the town. And we're hoping to only increase it as we go down the years. And potentially, you never know, we could have a full-time park ranger with a couple seasonal folks at some point in the future budget. Proud of that program, but I did feel it was important to let you know it's going to be a fully new staff this year. In terms of our rec programs, our spring brochure is live. Our summer brochure is being worked on now. That'll go out at the end of this month in March for registration in April. And that will include all of our summer specialty camps, which we have a lot of new opportunities this summer that we're excited about. And I know Ellen will be excited. They're offering a sea spray kayaking over at Pine Point Beach, and something she's been asking for a few years. So we're excited about that. We just wrapped up one of our largest indoor leagues, our basketball league, with 350 participants. And then we just last week started a 260 kid indoor soccer league that just kicked off last Saturday. We continue to see high enrollment, increased enrollment in the majority of our programs. Some of our new programs that hit, some of them that don't, but our league-based programs are very high, and we're proud of those programs. It takes a lot to put those together, as somebody like Dennis knows with Little League. In terms of our childcare, we opened summer camp, I believe it was February 1st. We filled within 1 minute. And that's with 350 kids enrolled in the summer camp. So we have 20 kids on the wait list. We've done a really good job of, some kids have found camp catch or other opportunities. As soon as one pulls out, we try to find the opportunity for that space to open up. But we are confined by space. We operate out of Wentworth School. And there's only so much space within that facility that we can use. We have talked internally about expanding our camp operations to multi-sites in the future if we continue to have wait lists and we can't meet the needs that we need. But 1 minute was a multi record.
That's almost like a beach to beach.
It's like a concert ticket, so to speak.
There's not a secondary market.
Yeah, that I'm aware of. For those that don't know, we offer pre-K here. We have the Clever program, and that's a 15 persons child slot based program. We opened that in a couple weeks ago, and we have 14 of those 15 spots already filled for the fall. So that's a really good sign for us. And then we're opening our before and after school. We're always like 6 months ahead in recreation.
Right.
We're opening our fall before and after school program April 7th. And that's a 230 kid maximum. And we expect that to be on within. We'll have a larger wait list of after school. And that's, kind of site based. We have some smaller sites that we only have like one certain space in which the school solution should help us in the future to give us future additional space and meet that need a bit more. The last two pieces I wanted to touch on, parks and grounds. We obviously have wrapped up our winter recreational opportunities, but this year we added an additional ice rink. So we operated 3 ice rinks all winter long. It was our best ice season that we've had in ages. So we had a portable ice rink out for those that didn't see it or did see it between Wentworth School and the turf field. It was a great hit. We're hoping to add even an additional one next year in another spot that would be hockey based with firmer backstops. We're just getting a lot of usage out of those rinks, and it's harder to take care of the natural rinks than some of this rink was much easier for us to maintain. But our Parks and Grounds team did an excellent job of that. We also, for the first time, grooming trails in multiple parks. The town invested in the snow groomer for us last year, and that was another popular hit for the town and something that we haven't ever done. We got a lot of positive feedback over expanding our winter opportunities this year. And then just in terms of our special events, we had our passport day most recently. It was the highest one attended since 2013. We submitted 89 passports and 20 renewals. And then this month we have our park hop egg hunt with the entire month of March, which is a great thing for kids to be able to do on their own with their parents, and then submit for prizes. And then we have our bunny breakfast at Wentworth School on the 28th, which is $10 for a family, full breakfast, pictures with the bunny. It's a great event and it usually sells out relatively quickly. So we're excited about that. And we're always promoting our mental health awareness for May. So we're programming for that. We have a family formal dance May 2nd. And then we are working with the chamber behind the scenes planning for summer concerts in the park, as well as our Summerfest. And the Summerfest date this year is August 21st. Did you get all that, Emily?
I sure did.
And then I guess the last thing I want to talk about, and I'm not sure if this is going to come in Councilor Kane's update or anything, but something we're also working behind the scenes. For those that don't know, there's a land acquisition reserve fund in town. It's a funding source that was created, I believe, in the early 2000s. 2000 might be the date. And it's created with a purpose of purchasing land for conservation, natural areas, protecting wildlife, and providing public recreational spaces. This fund has been the primary driver in the town's 30 by 30 goal, which is to conserve 30% of Scarborough by 2030. So community services, as you know, serves as the liaison here to CSAB. but also to Parks Conservation Land Board. So Nicole sits on that one, I sit with CSAB. That group is charged with making recommendations for council for those land purchases. Recent history with those purchases has been a lot of conservation based, and in our Parks and Recreation master plan and our current recreational amenities, as I'm sure Dennis can speak to, there's a great desire for more athletic fields, more space, more passive, active recreational opportunities for the town as a whole. And this is an opportunity for us to try to hedge our way into some of those funds to help us meet the need and maybe get some of that land that's left for future uses for us. So I've spoken to Trish, spoken with Larry. We've set up a meeting next week with the chair of the Parks and Conservation Land Board to have an initial meeting to try to work together to make this happen. And the one thing that they have that we need to work on, and it may channel back through our group as a whole, they have basically a measuring tool, an evaluation tool, and that right now is built through the open space plan model, and it doesn't necessarily meet the recreational content. So they want to work with us to build that out or help build it with them. So it can score and assess recreational spaces that could then become either primary recreation with some what's the word? Conservation, or they can be solo projects. So, but it's something that council supports. They want us to work together on that. And I know on our 5-year CIP, I have land money that I'm asking for. It'd be nice if we could get it through the land bond and not have to utilize CIP funding for it. But I think it's a really good opportunity for us to work, as two committees together to provide more resources for the town. So we will report back for the next meeting or send out even an email update of how our meeting went and if there'll be any additional agenda items that we could benefit in our next meeting to help meet this need.
Thank you, Nick.
That's all I got.
There's enough.
Larry?
Sure, I'll jump right on Nick's last comments. That was part of what I was looking to do, and a little bit of history that I was elected last June and came in and met with Nick right afterwards. And Nick had only been here for 6 or 8 months at that point, and it was almost the first thing we talked about, I think, was that this bond money exists. The town passed it a couple of years ago. It's originally $6 million. They've used some of it already. So it's a pool of money sitting there. And in the kind of wake of the restriction on capital projects, because of the school project, everything kind of got backburnered. It just seemed like a great opportunity to keep moving forward with the athletic facilities, some type of, I can't say it'll be a community center, but if we could ever find a piece of land that had fields and then kind of a set aside, that would be a great step forward. And I'd really appreciate Nick and Trish kind of bringing me into this collaboration. It makes perfect sense that it has just historically been conservation land and primarily in partnership with Scarborough Land Trust. So it's almost like habit. They find a property and it comes through that bond funding and all, and nobody was really thinking about the other aspects that are delineated for the use of that money. So I think there's really good support for it. And it's, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer in that I have no doubt that we can use the fields, facilities, whatever we can do with that land will be a benefit to the town. So it's a great step forward. I was really happy about it, kind of the land bond. The Parks and Conservation people wanted this collaboration to kind of give them a parallel track in case an opportunity comes forward that maybe isn't good for conservation, but is for community services. And I think it really makes sense to have a parallel analysis tool that decides if a particular parcel, fits the criteria. And the way that works is one or the other of you guys would bring that forward and the town votes on it over a 3-step process. And like I said, it's also has the benefit of doesn't need to go through CIP or something, which might take a year or two. The money's funded and ready to go. The other thing that I'm working on, I'm also a liaison to the school project. which again, Nick and I worked together to kind of make sure community services was represented on that project through the design phase. It really hasn't, there's nothing, right now it's kind of the architects working on design. They're doing interviews with they actually did 70 interviews or something with school faculty to build a kind of for each school mission statement almost, and fine tune the physical layout. And so it will be through at least the fall of all that, and actual construction wouldn't start to sometime in 27. But having Nick having a seat at that table, I think is really valuable. In the past, it's kind of like you're really banging on the door to get the use of their facilities. And if we can have that from the ground up and even design some space around the needs for community services, there would be a big step forward, I think, in that collaboration. Then the other thing I have is, just because it originated here, the animal control ordinance is back on the table. It's not quite on the table, it's kind of on a side table. But there was a request made by people in town to the state to look at the dog interactions with the birds, and some data was submitted that community services partly. You did the Rangers do some of that work?
There was separate
Okay.
data, the data that was sent to the state was a separate file.
Okay, yeah, so they, through last summer, and maybe you all know this already, but through last summer, collected data on dog interactions on the beach. That got sent to the state. The state was very concerned about that. The numbers were significant. I wouldn't say there's so much interactions with the birds, but dogs going into the restricted areas. And there was no takings or deaths or anything like that, but it just made the state say, can we take another look at this? And so the state has written an inquiry letter to the town, and the town will need to respond to that in some way. Council's running a workshop on it. I guess one of the, I think it's gonna be in late April, or late April, early May, where it'll be a public workshop where people come in and hear the concerns with it, and what else can we do that doesn't involve changing the rules around the dogs and just improving the outcomes. The outcomes actually were good. Last year was the best year ever for fledgling chicks on Scarborough beaches. So that's back in the limelight a little bit. It's a contentious issue. There's very passionate people on both sides of it, and so it'll be, hopefully we'll take the temperature down a little bit and build some collaboration around that as well.
Larry, Emily has a question. She says specifically plovers, not all birds. Question there.
That's right, plovers and least terns.
Can I ask a quick question and follow up on that? Just because it would be really helpful if this committee has any role in the animal ordinance for it to be very specific. Because there is a history.
Right.
And we were obviously concerned about the plovers, but we were also concerned about dogs' interaction with people.
Right.
And I think what we had proposed was fairly reasonable, but the process took over.
Yes.
So, and I think where we landed was fairly middle ground, because I do know that there are passionate people on both sides of the issue. So if we're not part of it and we're just individual members of the public, then we'll show up at the workshop if anybody wants to. But if there's a role for this committee, it would be very helpful if it could be clarified.
I think, yeah, I agree. And I think that was part of the challenge the last time, because and also I think your work started off originally not really dealing with the
That was
plovers.
secondary,
Yeah,
actually,
right,
like, oh
right.
yeah, here's another ordinance that relates after we've done
Yeah.
all the work. on
So I would think that how that might happen, this is specific about the letter that was received by the state. How do we respond to that? What are the changes we need to make, if any?
Yeah.
And there's some interaction also with, there's a document called the Beach Management Agreement, which is between Town of Scarborough and State of Maine, Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, and Maine Audubon might be a party to that as well. And so what is being worked on right now is really the response. This is really about the dog and lover interaction. But there was viable work done for those other parts and other parts of town and everything that have nothing to do with the beaches.
Right.
So I'll definitely be able to report back on that, but right this minute, I don't think there's a role at all.
Okay.
I believe it would be, we'd have a plan and agree with the state. If it required an ordinance change, that would go directly to ordinance and then to the council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's it.
Thank you, Doug. Does anyone have any questions for Nick or Larry? Those reports, any of our new people? Well, thank you both for that, and for all your hard work. And we have Nicole on here. Does this?
Yeah, she wasn't able to attend, but she provided me with some feedback that I'll run through quickly. So as you know, last year at Summerfest, we took the opportunity to gather feedback from the community on wants and needs of, programmatically facilities, anything we could possibly get feedback on. And then additionally, at this year's voting, we had another table with additional feedback there. It was much the extension of the same feedback. While the suggestions were a lot about facilities like standalone playgrounds, pools, pickleball courts, more pre-K access, really the overall pattern was around age group centered around non-sporting programs like the arts, music, singing, language development, dance, cooking, a lot of enrichment-based activities for multi-level groups, including tech stuff and life skill classes. Secondary response was sports that we're not currently offering, such as golf lessons and swimming lessons. I will say within the last year, we have tried to leverage swim lessons through a private provider. It's very difficult. They kind of have their market and they run the lessons that they intend to. And we had something that was relatively close, but it just didn't make its way through, and they kind of pulled back on their end. We are looking to offer some golf programming this summer with a local course. So some of that was feedback that we heard and we're going to implement. And then nature programs, which we're hoping to do somewhat through our Park Ranger program. And we've had internal discussions about all these programmatic things with the feedback. And we're hoping you'll see some of that come to fruition with some of our specialty offerings this summer and then throughout the next year. We have incorporated some new programs. And we're always looking for more programs, not even that necessarily we run, but we contract with somebody that has the age and expertise in the matter. I just saw actually today that one of the local dance center is moving right next door to us over here into Pierce. So there's a potential for a partnership there, and then to leverage some users with our group and us to work together. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but there was a post made today, and it's an exciting opportunity for us. One thing I'll say around the facilities that have been considered in my current CIP plan that I just submitted for the next 5 years. I will say our playgrounds that are not attached to the schools are very few and far between. I agree with that assessment wholeheartedly, and the ones that we have are aging in place faster than we can keep up with them. So I have put together a plan to not only replace those over the next 5 years of our current, but in FY 28, if it gets granted throughout the funding process, a standalone on the playground that's not attached to a school. Still looking for a location. I have one in mind, not willing to kind of shoot that out there because there's a lot of pieces as a part of it. But we definitely heard what the need is, and we want to make that happen. The pickleball piece, that's still in the works. As you know, there was some financing tied last year with the current skate park at that location. It needed to find a future location because we weren't willing to give up a recreation permit. We've been doing a lot of work on that recently, and I think we're pretty close to making something happen there. My intention would be to later this spring remove the skate park equipment and start on the pickleball courts first, and hope to complete those by mid-summer. Mid to end of summer, so those will be in use, and then pivot to the skate park because it's gonna take a lot of the design piece, some permitting with DEP and pieces because of the impervious, the pavement that they're putting in that location. So just want everybody to know that we're working diligently on both of those offerings, and when they come to fruition, that'd be great opportunities for the town.
The skate park is from scratch though, right? We're not trying to move that.
No,
Yeah,
if you walk that, it's
Yeah.
in pretty rough shape. So yeah, we would eliminate all. It's lived its life. We would eliminate all that equipment. I would have brand new equipment, brand new pad that's put down.
Right.
Some benches and collection areas. Both exciting opportunities for us, in both that currently have funding already available for us.
That's great. Thank you. I had an idea. Since your ice rinks are so popular, how about starting the curling?
It's a great.
There you go.
I'm still trying to figure out how curling works. I watched a ton and I'm still thoroughly confused.
Dude, I'm so with you on that. I have no idea either. Someone
Okay,
explained to
so-
me as bocce on ice, and then it made a little
Yes.
bit more sense, but I'm with you. I'm with you, Nick.
But you need much bigger ice than.
Yeah, it's
have
almost
those
big,
hits.
yeah,
It's huge.
it's over
Yes.
130 feet, I think.
So like, it's.
We can do mini curling.
Do it?
No, but have you seen like the one they have over at by the tennis court now?
Yeah.
You'd need to be twice as long as
Okay,
that to
okay.
do it's long. Cause we've done it. I did it once at Turtle Bikes Arena. It's like full on like red line to blue. It's fun.
Yeah, it's
They
almost
do
like
it
a
during the
ring.
day. It's like a ring. It's interesting.
Maybe we can make it half the size and it's.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like for like novices, because not a lot of people know exactly what it is. Could you do it like sort of just halfway, like a day for curling, intro to curling?
That you could do, but you couldn't have
Yeah.
a league. You couldn't have, competition.
One of the ideas with the new pickleball courts going where the current skate park location is that those are removable stanchions. And we would place another ice rink on top of that because it's 100 by 100, nice square pad. It's confined within fencing. So that'll be a really good opportunity for us. And there's already a lot of winter opportunity in Memorial Park in terms of snowshoeing and some sliding down the hills.
Just get it to clean it. And to get it defensive.
Well, I'd be willing to volunteer to help with the curling thing to get the ice.
Great segue, Chris.
Great to volunteer. It's like on my bucket list of things to do. Okay. So we're all set. Thank you. We're gonna move into the volunteer recruitment, and Emily and Amanda, do either of you want to jump in and sort of do an introduction, or would you like me to do that since we're the three of us with the experienced people on the committee on sort of how we are gonna work into how this project just sort of came about?
If you can start, Trish, I'm about 8 minutes away from being there in person.
Oh, okay. Emily, do you want to jump in, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I can share a little bit. I wasn't at the last meeting that we had, so I may have missed a little bit, but as CSAB was reviewing our goals over the last year or so, we had identified key areas in which we can help community services the most, and volunteer recruitment came up as one of those in which we can help contribute ideas and processes and thoughts. And so the idea was to see how we can help community services develop a solid volunteer base in which they can help in a variety of capacities at different programs, or passport days, or in the office, or something in which it would be something that is sustainable all around, but also making sure that like the correct procedures are put in place. Like if volunteers are working with kids, then they're background checked, and all of those kind of key components. And so Nick created a sheet like a meeting or two ago of Nick, help me out. Programs in
Overview.
place or need for volunteer.
We did both a program overview and then
Yeah.
we subsequently worked on the inventory.
Yes. So I think we're continuing that conversation of where those needs are, or what opportunities that we can collaborate with, or what ideas need to be further fleshed out and developed to continue in creating this process.
I'm also gonna add, if I'm recalling correctly, you had a system or something, some kind of automated thing. This is like going back a few meetings. That we had started to talk about this, and you had a suggestion from another organization on some kind of
Right,
program.
and it's something Nick has used in the past.
Yeah, so long story short, what's the name? I can't remember the name of it. Some it's a
Yes.
school-based program that you can use, similar to an app base or a tech base. Nicole and I investigated it. It was far too expensive for us to implement for a relatively small volunteer program. It didn't, risk didn't outweigh the reward there. And it's a multi-year contract that we weren't willing to move forward.
I think
I'll
most
just-
software programs are going to be the case, and I think maybe if we get to a point that we have, you know, a large base of volunteers, then looking at a program to manage all that with a multi-year contract would be a good way to go, but I don't think we're there yet at all.
And I'll just add that one of the things we've also talked about, which is kind of nice that you're here, is we talked a little bit about how we can work together with other committees in the community so that we're not repeating or that we're not duplicating efforts and all work together. And kudos to Nick and his team. They're small but mighty. They do a lot of work. And if we could just augment a little bit, we could, you know, the community service could be that much stronger. So that was how we sort of came on to this project, and we have talked about it a little bit. I think where we left off at the meeting a couple months ago was, is anyone familiar with volunteer programs that are in existence, like at Maine Health or Maine Medical Center, that we could sort of mimic those and kind of build the infrastructure? Do you have how we've identified the areas where you need volunteers on this sheet?
I thought what would be good tonight, at least to start, is I've provided this inventory sheet for everyone. It's in our drive. You know, we can do this offline as well. Take a look at what our needs are. The thought at our last meeting was to get the inventory from staff here, have an additional brainstorm session of anything we may have missed here. And then also look at potential town-wide opportunities. Which could be Sustainable Scarborough Day, it could be at voting and registrations, additional pieces like that, concerts in the park. What we heavily focused on was internal, every segment of our division, whether it's childcare, youth program, adult program, parks and open space, instructors, beach volunteers, and then special events. So you'll see that's the culmination of our work. And I think we hit a lot of it on the head. We're well open to more additions to this inventory sheet. But I think moving forward, now that we have kind of a basis of it, that, you know, we can brainstorm some ideas around, you know, the framework, the roles, the descriptions in general. A second opportunity is the onboarding and management of it, whether that's, you know, we need to create an application process, kind of a simple system to start, since we're not going with an app-based piece. You know, whether that's a Google Sheet, a document that we start working on internally and that naturally grows. And then policies and guidelines around, you know, onboarding and management and how we orient volunteers. Because I think you lose a lot of good volunteers or people that want to volunteer by not having a simple system in place and it being easily accessible. And that's how you lose retention, so to speak, in the volunteer program. So I think a good framework of roles and descriptions, responsibilities, then secondarily, the onboarding and management of it. And then third, recruitment strategies. I think those are our three big buckets. And I didn't know, you know, what I wanted to bring up is it worthy of a subcommittee, or does it feel like we had enough time in these meetings? Because our normal meeting structure is 1 hour.
Right.
Tonight's an hour and a half because we missed a meeting. So I'm not sure if we look at developing subcommittees in each of those three buckets. I'm open for all sorts of feedback, what we think, but that was just kind of my general brainstorm.
What would be your ideal time frame for kicking this off?
Fall.
Okay, so we've got,
And I say fall, and maybe that's in 1 or 2 areas or a concentrated areas. I think establishing the framework is the most important piece, right? And I mean, it's in no rush, right? We don't currently have a volunteer system, so we'll take what we can get when we get it. But I think it's important to do it right, so I don't really want to put a date and a time on it. You know, as we get it constructed, I think we can make that decision a little more effective.
so you've got these comprise all of the internal volunteer opportunities that you currently have.
Yep, within reason, 90% or so.
So there's
There's a lot of
a
volunteers.
lot of volunteer. Okay.
We do a lot.
So how is this organized? So like, is it on, we have is there a page on the town website?
Nope, I think it's something we can certainly embed on community services webpage. I think importantly is developing internally all that structure and everything, and then importing it to the website when we go.
So I have a question. Nick, some of these things were you said, okay, so you said the three categories were the roles and descriptions, the onboarding process, and then the approval process?
Recruitment strategies.
Oh, recruitment. Okay.
With onboarding and management, it was kind of create an application process, simple system to manage it, policies, guidelines, and orientation all within that one bucket.
Yep. Okay.
And then the recruitment was a standalone third bucket.
Okay. So like, are you looking at our committee to help create these things? Because like, okay, so for example, though, like if someone on your beach team says we can use a volunteer to help with beaches, they're gonna know what the role is that the volunteer would do as opposed to somebody on our committee. So we can certainly like reach out to the beach people and ask them and communicate and get it done that way, or we can find a way for like some of them to create maybe like or give us like bullet points for some of these key things, and then we can write them into like a consistent template or format that matches. So like the format of every single position across the board for all of community services has like, a summary, a description, an expectation, and then like a timeline or something like that. So they all look the same and then are detailed, like it'll, maybe it'll say like, this is under like the beach umbrella, or this is under the recreation umbrella, or something, something like that.
I could identify.
Job descriptions, right? Like, it just sounds like we need to.
Yeah, and I think she has a great idea in terms of the bullets piece. I can assign a staff within each of those realms. Some of them will be the same staff, youth programs, adult programs, in beaches will be the same person, right? That'll be Steve and Zach. Ops and events, Brandy and Jill could work in conjunction with the group with that group. So I think we assigning staff people as essentially liaisons to help with the bullets and pieces, but if you guys can help us develop the job descriptions in detail, we just don't have, with the volume of work we have within the department, we don't have the time to put forth.
And some of these, if you look at the youth programs, well, just I know that world the best, it is there. It already, it's literally what your requirement is, what your job is, and how long it has to be there. So that's what I think you need to develop for all these. It says here, youth basketball referee. Now, sure, there's some things. Is it just 1 hour for one game? Is it do a whole, there's all those little pieces. How many games a week, but is it all in one day? Is it multiple days of the week? So you can go into it more, but you need like kind of the top level and drill into it. Because one of the things I found from volunteers getting to do stuff, first thing is everybody thinks that somebody else will do it if they don't do it, right? Somebody else will do that for you if they don't do it. Or they want to go, or they want to be involved, but it's so complex. Figure out what exactly. So you're like, oh, it sounds good, I'll volunteer. And you go and it's like, wow, there's 75,000 job descriptions in 12 departments. How do you drill that down? So they say, I'm youth sports, click. Okay, here's my sport. Here's what it is. So you can go down and see what they actually need. And then the other time is just that once in a while. Dear all of our contact world, we have a problem with the last storm. The beaches are trash. We need a beach cleanup day. Who can come? And you don't need to have been credentialed or background checked or whatever. This is an open thing for anybody from ages X to Y. And here's some of the skills we need. So you kind of need like that both. I think you need that open base of just, hey, I want to do good things, and when do you need help? And then I think you also need the very specific, because if you don't know basketball, you're not going to referee your basketball game. If you don't know how to kayak, you're not going to go to the kayaking thing and volunteer. So it's tricky to how you do that. But then I think, and then it comes down to how you do the recruitment strategy to get into those spots.
But I agree with that. I think if you format the the role or whatever that it says on it specifically, like it's under the umbrella of sports and under something like this. Like if I look at the different options and I'm like, I do not want to be anywhere near the beaches, I'm not even going to look at those options. I'm going to go under like recreation.
So if we came up with a standard, say, one job description for it, and it would give the committee an idea of what we're looking for, and then maybe we could segment and break off into different areas. Like say, you know, Trish, Mike, and Brittany work with Steve on all programming stuff. And then another bucket works on the other, develop those first, and then try to get to the next steps in terms of an application process, how we start to build the inventory and recruit these folks for the substance. I think that's our best bet.
You also need a matrix. Like one shot deal, because the other thing with volunteers is they're going to disappear if you don't give them their job. And some people want to volunteer like, oh, I can do it on a Saturday, but I do not want a project that's going to last 3 months. So we almost need a matrix that says
Short term.
the time commitment, one-offs, ongoing. And then to Emily or Dennis's point, like beach.
I think Trish, I think we can include that right in like let's say if we create like a one sheeter of the roles in it, it would say like time commitment, you know, one time or 3 to 5 months, you know, or something. And eventually we can get to, you know, a database or something that people can search, you know, by that instead of clicking, you know, menus to review every single individual volunteer role separately. But something like that, you know, could be included in the thing. So like if we're talking to, you know, the beach people and they're looking at volunteers for the whole summer, the time commitment listed on the description might say like 3 months versus what Dennis was talking about where it said like is it going to be multiple basketball events or like a whole season. I'm happy to create the maybe like the initial template for us to base stuff off of, and then we can figure out who wants to kind of work with which staffer person to start creating some of these roles.
Very good programs, it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
It's a need.
It's well.
It's top level done, and then yeah. And then there would be a like, oh, I want more information. This, I think there's a sub-description that says, you know, then you get to read that our basketball programs typically run between 8 and 12. We have 4 games an hour, and we need referees for X amount of games. And by the way, click here and sign up. Right. You know, and then you just keep hammering people till they.
You think really your staff has done a really good job with this detail. These, I don't see.
You just need a way to bring it under a, well, if you don't have a program, it's
Yourself safe perspective, like in a normal JV, so like what are your physical requirements, what
Right.
you expect, things like
True.
that. So I have, Emily, I can send you some templates too that you could look at that I've looked at, and then I think you probably need like a. Yeah. And then probably an FAQ for day one, right? Like, yes, there's your normal job description, but what should I expect on day one when I'm walking into this? So they're not like, okay, I'm here, to your point, like, what do I do? I'm just gonna leave.
I think that's the worst part. You walk into something to do it and you expect one thing, and your expectation is not what you thought it was.
Right.
And after one, you're like, nobody really knows, you know, there's no, because they're volunteers. And if there's not a staff person that says everyone comes here, which is not going to happen every time, follow my lead and give you 3 do this, you do this, you do this, which is easy on a big project day where you've got, you know, DBW and everybody there doing the same thing. But if it's just walking to the gym the first day, you don't know where to go. Sure. Then they're like, this is unorganized. I've got better stuff to do. And then they just, sorry, I can't make the next one. Then they just float away.
My escalation contact, if I need something, what are typical things you might run, just small things that help people feel.
So you've got a template.
Or two. I wonder if it's possible if the school district has something we could piggyback on. They're organizing activities. Oh, wait, it may be very specific software that we would need a separate license and all that, but it might be worth seeing if they have anything that is more of an app or something that.
There are 73 different sign-up systems in this town, I can tell you.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like
Somebody
everybody
like-
has their
between
own separate ones.
Arbiter,
Yeah.
the middle school, high school, sports ones, like there's something out there.
Does the school department have a volunteer coordinator?
I
think
don't,
they
I don't
do,
know.
yeah,
Oh,
they do
okay.
offer volunteer.
Okay, so then he or she or they will, one, have the requirements, like I know you have to be fingerprinted. to volunteer in the schools?
I don't think so.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
just
No,
need
you
to-
don't. To work in the school you do, but not to volunteer.
Okay, background check, but, and then training, so
There's
maybe
training.
whoever the volunteer person is, to your point, do you know that person?
I can look it up. Yeah, and I can reach out to them.
That would be great.
I'd be very impressed if they had some kind of,
Okay.
very smart
I-
app.
Hold
Is
on,
it
I want to
gonna-
bring up a point though. Like, I think it's a really big difference for somebody who like might be going to the beach to do a cleanup versus for like one day versus someone who might be volunteering with a set of kids for, like
Great.
months at a time, and people don't ever read anything, and so we want to ideally make the process as easy and short and simple as possible so that people are more likely to volunteer, because the second you give them 2 pages to read, they're not going to read it and they're going to be like, I don't want to volunteer anymore and I'm done with this. So we need to find a fairly efficient way that shows like, okay, if you want to do, like a one-off day for something, this is the process that it entails. And then like as they get more involved, like if they want to get involved with kids, then we'll say, okay, here's the process. However, because you've opted to work with kids, there's these additional things that you need to do, and maybe kind of have levels of it. Because like if I wanted to like go and clean up a beach for the day and someone told me I needed to be background checked, I'd be like, forget it. I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, clearly, but it would be helpful because some of these do involve working with you, so we kind of have to cover
Yeah.
both bases.
Mm.
Yes.
And every group, I don't know what the standards, I've met in Park and Rec for a while, but I don't remember doing like a JDP when I did Pee Wee soccer then, but other sports I have. And they never cross correlate, which is a pain, but like to be a soccer coach, you have to take safe sport. But only a head coach, right? You have to have at least one person that to do Little League, you have to do a JDP background check. You have to do it, or you technically can't coach, or you're not covered by insurance.
In our league base, it's very similar to that.
Yeah.
So referees or any volunteers for our league base, it would be a little bit more, not a lift, but a couple more steps.
Well, same as your instructor. If you hire an outside instructor to do dance with kids, they've got to have whatever accreditation credential for that.
Right.
Say they pass those things. So, but I think those are specific to the role. Because I guess if I was refereeing for kids, I would expect that.
That's what I think.
I would expect that if I'm going to be around other people's children, they would, expect that the town had done its diligence in that person, has passed her credential, something.
So to
But
circle
not to
back to
clean the
what
beach.
Nick said, if we take those 3 categories and then knowing the process that we need to create, the description with the formatting and stuff, do we want to have people that are interested in, coming up with formats and processes for those buckets and doing that in between the next meeting and then reviewing it at the next meeting?
I think that would be most beneficial.
Okay,
Yeah.
who wants what? I'll write your name down.
Okay, can we revisit?
The 3, yeah, so I had first one was framework, roles, descriptions. That includes anything responsibility, purpose, title, commitment, requirement, and benefits of the actual volunteer role. Whether that be, you're part of a ski program and you get, your child gets to go for free for that program, so benefits, because we want volunteers to come back and retain them. So I want to make sure that as a department, we're offering some benefits as we seek service. And then second bucket was onboarding and management, and create an application process, system to manage it, policies, guidelines, and what an orientation process would look like. So they felt comfortable coming in on being on it.
This might come up later, Nick, but like, for example, if we arrange a trip, I think you guys are doing a trip to Boston or something like that, or like to go see a play, and everybody who's going on the trip had to pay to attend. And if someone were to like volunteer to chaperone that trip, would a benefit include offsetting the cost of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then the third bucket was recruitment strategies. Yeah.
So question for the orientation, is there like a threshold, like for cleaning up the beach one day, you wouldn't have an orientation, like what would be the threshold?
I think it would be something league based. They would need to attend our volunteer coaches training that. So they can watch the same videos and be approved on the same credentials that our coaches are. That would be a similar threshold. So any of our volunteer one-offs or a special event necessarily, it wouldn't include a full orientation. That would be more of a day of, this is your liaison, and they'll walk you through the steps that need to.
And there's some of those programs, I think there are natural synergies to other programs too. So if you're gonna coach Pee Wee rec soccer, you might also have a kid in regular soccer. If there was some synergy there so that you weren't repeating the process twice, or this was kind of like you did this same thing, knowing that at some age they go into Scarborough Soccer Club or Scarborough basketball or whatever, that might help too, just so it's kind of the same processes in some way, you know what I mean? Like, or some cross orientation or whatever. So like, you don't have to do one thing, but you've also got a younger kid and an older kid, and then you're doing two different things, even though they're in the same world.
I think the other benefit of that is, as a community service department, is we have good connects with
Yeah.
Little League, lacrosse, soccer. So the outreach, I can reach out to Brian from Little League or soccer any day and say, hey, did these 15 volunteers, did they go through your full circle? What did they go through? And we can skip a process because we're already loaded to our volunteer system.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it years ago about having something like that, but like Little League has a very specific thing because of their charter. But could another one use the same one so that we're not paying for the same exact program for the same groups to get background checked 5 different times, which happens to me every year. Just because that's what because they all have one. And sure, if it's insurance based, that's one thing, but maybe the town's aligns with one of those and you don't have to double them up all the time. Just to make it just makes it easy to volunteer if you know these people are already ready to go. Boom.
Yeah, you can change lists.
Right, like basically they're on the list, so you're good, and hey, then that group can send out the recruitment and say, because you're already background checked, did you know you can volunteer for this with this town program?
Which is sort of another reason to connect with the schools, because I'm getting a lot of parents who've been background checked, could then already be background checked.
That's a really
So-
good point, though, but it also goes across the other categories of community services too.
Yeah.
Like if we have regular people who are, trail volunteers and the beach needs help on the upcoming season, we could reach out to them and be like, hey, even though we know that you regularly help with the trails, the beaches are coming up and we can use your help. And it's in that same kind of, field-ish, for them to be able to like cross-pollinate, cross-train, cross something.
All those worlds. So I mean, I think for me, that's the area I'd be best in, is in trying to come up with implementation and recruitment strategies. Matrices and grids, not my strong suit.
So which one did you want? The recruitment strategies? You want that one?
I would just be like, coming up with the ways we could do that. I would be stronger in a group working on that than I would be grids and systems.
All right. We want to just go around the table and you tell me what you want, and I'll write you down under the category.
I'm sorry, I'm slow on this. This is sort of your framework for bucket number 1, a little bit.
This is the first page?
Yeah.
This part, all these pages, partially, it's the overall inventory.
So I guess I'm still,
But it doesn't include the role, the full, not every one of them includes the full role, the responsibilities, some of the stuff that Brittany talked about, some additional. Physical requirements.
They also all use different headers because they all did it individually. So if we can common out at least some of that, and I think that the key is the framework. It's okay, now how do we organize it? So you've got all this, but you can't just put up 10 Excel docs.
I know, that's what I'm trying to understand. I'm just wondering, I mean, the framework's role, that's a huge job. Because we've got to take a job template for every single one of these and then group them under the umbrellas. Is that?
In a way, but what you need to do is just decide. I think this group decides what template they're using, and then you say to Nick and say, "Great, you have all these jobs." Then that staff, they already know all the information. They can put it in. They fill out the template.
Is one template sufficient though? That's what I'm
Yes, I think
struggling
you can
with.
do one template and you can bucket things, like you could have the special events, all the special events could probably go, you know what I mean? Because they're all around the same time commitment, looks like similar activities. You could say, here's.
Does this include physical labor? If so, what? And they can put a description.
So you're thinking a job template for each of these buckets?
Not necessarily. I'm just saying there are some you can bucket, but there's probably some you can't.
That's what I'm concerned about. That's what
So
I'm getting
Trish, I
at.
think we're looking at like one sheet of information that has the different categories, and then as it's dependent on the description per per program, that's when they would that they would fill it in. So instead of
And
having a different thing for each type of bucket, it would just be fill in. So like if there's no physical labor involved, like in that section, it would just be like NA, like there's nothing involved in that because you might be sitting at a desk. But like if it was the rec program where you're going to be lugging around soccer balls, it might under physical labor, it might say like needs to be able to lift a bag of soccer balls.
Needs to be able to lift up to 25 pounds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think they can help us prioritize. Like we don't have to do all of it at once, I assume, right? We can kind
That's
of
what I'm
bucket it.
trying to
We can
break
bucket
down. I think there's a little oversimplification here. I apologize for me being tired, but I think it's a
I
little
think we
bit
start
deeper
with
than
one
we,
and
yeah.
a template
Agreed.
and agree on it and say
Yeah.
yes, and then we move.
Yeah.
I think it will morph quickly once you have the baseline template.
So I think if between these three things that Nick described, if everybody looks at doing different things, in between the meetings and we present those at the meetings, then the group can offer feedback and say like, okay, you should maybe focus on this next. So like, for example, if, recruitment strategies has almost nothing to do with designing a template, but they can start putting a plan in place of a timeline or how they want to utilize or researching different groups and when they meet or their locations, to develop something like that. Whereas like the framework group, for example, their first task could be working on a template and then at the next meeting say like, this is what we developed. What does everybody else think? And then like the management group could look at, like creating all of the different policies. So everybody can kind of do stuff independently that are not synced with each other, and then we can make it all kind of sync together once we have all of the pieces created. But I think waiting for like for somebody to do something and then wait for that and then the next group do something, like I think that would make this process so painfully long that there are things that can be done independently without having to wait for like another group.
Yeah, for like implementing recruitment strategies, if they want to give us someone to tackle it, I would get together, look at what you've got here, come up with some ideas, and then go and say, okay, Nick, what staff member can now tell us how we could do I don't know how to send an email newsletter to the town, how do we do that? Do we need our own for this? How do, and then work with them and come back and say, okay, once we get to that point, here's kind of our ideas for initial recruitment strategy, groups we could reach out to, and you just kind of have that baseline and then go over next months.
So Nick, do you have a current volunteer policy?
Yes.
Okay, so you would want to use that as a starting point
Yeah.
and then add to it based on, okay, I'd be happy to work on that once we have more direction. Is that something you were planning to do as part of this process? Kind of
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, same thing. You must have some orientation now.
Yeah, we do.
So whatever you have, we need the brain dump of that.
So I wasn't here for it before. I mean, I assume the goal of this is because we have some volunteers, but we could do a lot more if we had a lot more volunteers.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're just spread so thin
Spread,
from a staffing standpoint,
Yeah.
and specifically seasonally, so some of our folks toggle two worlds. So just building depth.
Yep.
Well, it also builds support in the community when it comes to budget time or,
And it builds community.
it builds community. So there's. Okay,
Nick, I have a quick, do you have Microsoft? Do you guys use the Microsoft suite here, like Microsoft tools for like email and stuff?
Gmail, Google.
I had some ideas to use Microsoft tools, but.
Okay, so does anybody interested or want to be in any of these buckets?
I'd be interested in the onboarding management policies, guidelines.
Is that Daryl? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Bucket 2.
and Caroline. And Nick, you're gonna send anything you have that
Sure.
falls within any of these buckets that can be used as a. Okay,
I'm definitely implementing strategy.
your recruitment.
Brittany, you want to work on framework with me?
Yeah, I can do some digging into some of the tech stuff. I'm not as familiar with Google, but I can see if there's some things similar to what you can do with Microsoft.
Usually they've copied something. It's just
Yeah.
how good it is the question.
Yeah, we have like.
We
power
switched
automate
that
and
work
use
from
things.
Google to Microsoft, so it's, I can help sort out, I hate Microsoft compared to Google.
Yeah, I know, so do I.
Nicole.
I worked with
And I-
Google.
Nicole is also, our deputy director is also really talented.
Oh, she is.
with those types of things.
So I'm thinking we've got Brittany and Emily, and I'm happy to work on the framework because I think it will take a lot more.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Work.
think they're just gonna chunk it so we don't overwhelm ourselves.
Okay.
And when I abandon you in July, then you two can still work on it, so.
So
Um. I also have some ideas for police and strategy, so I can have it all.
Sure.
All right, so our next,
Mike, what are you interested in? All of it?
Wherever you want to put me.
Where do we have any deficiencies? Emily is spreading it out.
what do you
We-
do?
We've got Dennis and Trish under recruitment. We've got me, Brittany, and Trish under framework. And we've got Caroline and Daryl under onboarding. So I would say since Trish is in two, you can either hit up recruitment or framework.
Well, you do with the inland waterways. Do you have any of these, anything infrastructure that would overlap any of these that you could
Absolutely
share?
not. Let me think about that for a second.
You don't
Yeah.
do any volunteer?
No, we don't do any, we don't have any volunteer type of stuff at all. This is like a different world that I, which is
After
good.
this is developed, you can.
Yeah, there's really.
Especially when we do a big harbor festival in the future, because that's.
Which, we've been mumbling a little about that, and it's gonna take some structure to do something.
Oh,
like that. That
absolutely.
would force the issue, but right now, there's just nothing
Yep.
in that committee.
So if you, what would help that committee? Which of these would help that committee? Because then you can bring that knowledge to them.
The thing about helping with coastal waters and harbor committee is more about the infrastructure itself than dealing with the infrastructure.
unless you guys know how to get dredgers in to do dredging. That's the big.
Well, where we crossed over was when the parking thing first came up. It came up in our
I
committee
remember.
several years ago.
Yeah.
And then you guys got involved in it also, and that's been the big overlap. But there again, it's an infrastructure kind of a thing.
So orientation, policies, processes is infrastructure. Would you like to work on that
Sure.
too?
I'll work into it too. That's
All
fine.
right. So we still have Ellen and Amanda, and is that everybody? Wait, just those two?
Yeah.
Let me see.
I don't know if you can see me, Emily, I think I'd be best suited for the framework part.
All right, and then we'll put Ellen under recruitment, which I think is a good one for her.
Yeah.
But essentially, once like the framework and everything is completed, in theory, we could all help with recruitment. But getting that started, would be a good step. So, okay. And then do we want to have one person from each of these teams kind of like lead the team to make sure that there's like coordination happening and that we actually talk in between meetings?
Good idea.
Dennis, I nominate you. Congratulations. Good job.
Got it.
Brittany, Trisha, Amanda, any takers?
I can do it.
Is that Amanda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Staff.
And Caroline, Daryl, and Mike?
Very straight. I think there's all those west.
Any of those?
Might as well join us.
Any taker for those three?
Oh, Daryl can.
Daryl, got it? Okay.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Okay. So is everybody clear on the goal and understanding of these tasks prior to the next meeting? So kind of each of these committees has homework, Nick has homework, and then we'll kind of present these ideas or what was created at the next meeting and kind of offer feedback and go from there.
Yes.
Super.
Okay, so, the next order of business is to confirm so I think we basically have our agenda set for the next meeting.
So
Right?
unless anybody wants to put anything else on there, I'm just going to put exactly what I just said.
Yeah, I think the only other.
Oh, you love budget.
I'll do, as part of my update, I'll speak to budget. And anything, we could maybe add a standing, spot for, report back from our meeting with PCLB.
Oh, yeah, that's
This would be
right.
an addition.
Okay,
Sorry, what was that, Nick?
The Lincoln Conservation,
Oh.
bond update.
Yes, yes, yes.
And will we have a better update in the school by then?
Or
Like by May, just curious. So what you were talking about earlier is the huge piece of this, the infrastructure problem we have for community services at the school. And in general, and all of them, which restrict everything that we can do. So I'm interested to how those conversations go.
it won't be as far down the road.
No,
I
probably
think we're
not.
looking more of a fall.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to miss that window, because it's,
right. And I will say there needs to be maybe some focus as they're doing some of this building design, that if there's carve outs for community services, it wouldn't be like standalone space for community services, but dual use kind of things that we identify those, I think.
I know the majority, if not all the schools, because many of them use a calf and a gym as the same spot. They're trying to separate those, so that functionally gets you additional space within the confines of the school.
yeah,
That'll be true for all, yeah, particularly the primary schools now,
It's
it's
just-
just have a separate auditorium kind of and cafeteria.
this came up the last time the school failed, but there was a huge, I was involved in a lot of those meetings early. There was a huge fight over how many gyms, who has access, where they go, how that affects everybody. And then the whole thing failed, so it didn't matter anyway, but
Right.
I
that
think
would just
that's
be a
gonna be
big,
a future discussion down the
Okay.
road. We're
Yeah.
definitely not there. We're more forward at this
Okay.
point.
I think it's, what's important right now is that we're in the conversation kind of, and at the table, which Nick is handling, and so that as that comes along and people are saying, we want to do nighttime programs and use the Pleasant Hill gym, that there's consideration for what the community services needs are.
Potentially priority levels or however we should think of that.
Okay, so for the agenda, we will have a budget update, the land conservation, volunteer, and any other updates. Okay, so we have been meeting on Thursdays, second Thursday of the month. For new people, we have new people. Is that a date, time, or do you have preferences? I think we were specifically working around other members' schedules. Does that date work for people?
Sure.
So the dates that are listed below are the second Tuesday of the month for the next 4 meetings that we would have this year.
Second Tuesday or Thursday?
Thursday.
Sorry, Thursday, sorry.
I think we had had a discussion about if it was still Thursdays, what time, because we had met at 6 for a long time, and then I know we needed to be a little later.
Right.
I just want to make sure I'm clear about that.
I know Larry is on finance committee and do you meet every
This, once a month, on the second Thursday.
That's it, it's ours.
But that meeting starts at 5 typically, so, and if it's going right, we should be done by 6:30 anyway, so 6:30 would be great, but certainly don't do it around me, and for what I'm doing, if I came in a little late to the meeting, we can catch up.
Yeah,
That'd be a problem, yeah.
okay, so that time works for you.
Yeah.
And it would be 6:30 to 7:30. I just want to clarify. I had a typo here, 6:30 to 8. This meeting was.
Well, we had to catch up.
Because we missed
We
it.
lost.
We missed it.
Okay, so the next meeting is there. I will not be there on the 14th. It is my birthday and it's a big one. And
Turning 30, Trish?
Always have a cake or something, come on.
no, I think it needs to be something a little stronger than.
Stronger than
his
that,
birthday.
like, I know I'm gonna miss September
I was
10th.
coming up, so.
Is that a week today?
Yeah.
Like, I know September 10th, I probably can't make it, or maybe I
Oh,
can
it's
sneak
okay.
on Zoom, because we have a game that night,
Yeah.
but I might be able to sneak away for an hour.
As long as you have a quorum, so there's
So if
7
we
of
know
us,
well
so I
in
think we need
advance.
4 people, so as long as we know ahead of time and we.
So in July, as I said, in July, I won't be here in September, possibly,
Yeah, I just wanted to check. So the July 9th date, I know sometimes people take the week like after July 4th off.
Yeah.
Some take before, so I think
can-
we should ask that question now.
somebody else had a conflict.
I'm pretty sure the last 2 years we have canceled the July meeting because nobody had made it.
Yeah, I agree.
With us meeting every other month, I think it's important, if it's not July 9th, it's another date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
That's when I think.
Wanna start back a week?
Quick, a different, yeah, do you wanna just push it back?
Let me grab my phone because I am on vacation in July.
That was
Dare
what
you.
we ran into, yeah.
I think a lot of people are taking vacation the week before, because the 3rd's the holiday this year. It's a Friday, it's 4th to Saturday.
Do you know the whole Sea Dog schedule off the top of your head?
Yeah.
You should, yeah.
And we're gone for 2 weeks. It's the All-Star break. So then following Thursday works fine for me as well.
Yeah, I couldn't do the 16th if we bumped it back to in July. Nicole could sit in, nope, actually Nicole and I are both on the vacation for.
That can't even be legal.
It's-
If
Which week are you on vacation?
we went to the 16th. wouldn't
I'm not
work
available
for that.
How about the 23rd?
I'm available.
Actually, wait, take that back.
Well, we could switch to one other night just for the July meeting.
Ooh, there you go. That's okay.
Like the 15th, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was.
No, you're away that whole week,
I'm okay
right?
with that whole.
Oh,
Ooh.
what needs to pass? What nights does it pass?
I could do the following week.
How about the week of the 20th, any
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
other than Friday?
The week of the 20th, I'm available. Fully.
Me too.
I mean, I'll
Oh.
try, but no guarantee.
Yeah.
You can do
I only might be out.
Whatever, man.
That's fine, I'm not coming. I have Arts Prime meeting that night.
Oh, and you.
Can we keep it on the
My
same
family has
Thursday?
season tickets, so
Oh my God,
I'm not,
that's right, we had that conversation.
yeah, so.
Trish, just for consistency, could we keep it on the day of the
It
Thursday?
could be the 23rd.
Yeah,
And Brittany can't come on Thursdays this.
that's okay.
Someone else will be second.
Everyone has lives
So
outside
you-
of CSAB.
No, I was, that was the one.
So that's fine. So
So we
July
move it to the
23rd. So it'll be May 14th, July 23rd, September 10th, and
Can you send a
November
calendar invite?
12th.
And who already said that they would not be able to come? Brittany?
Age the second. Yeah.
Emily, can we send calendar invites for all of these to the entire board? I've updated our spreadsheet within the file folder with
Mhm.
everybody's email as well.
Okay, great.
Okay, and also Emily, if you can wrap up this meeting and then we have been using Google. Which
That's,
is
no, I
fine.
could use it, yeah.
Can you, obviously you'll share with everybody here that's new. And then hand it over to,
I did
So,
today.
so Nick, yeah, so Nick already did that because remember the drive is now owned by the town instead of by me. And Brittany, I already
Yeah.
sent you an email to find a time to connect.
yeah, okay,
Just gonna hand off.
yeah, exactly. Okay, anything else that we need to discuss?
So I have
Okay.
Trish, you'll be absent at the May meeting. Brittany and I will be absent on the July meeting and then TBD on the 10th and the 12th. But these meetings are scheduled for 6:30 to 7:30.
Right,
Correct. Okay. All right. Yes. And then I will send out calendar invites.
okay, so, if seeing no other business, can I have a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're done, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
So,